And then you have the other aspect, which is, some of our areas have like these larger quests and like larger implications for what happens. And so you go in there, you solve a quest in a very specific way, and you have multiple radio stations which are commenting on it, right? Like very early on, there's an auto mechanical repair facility that you're going into, and they have a big problem, which is they're leaking uranium gas, which is a highly toxic gas. And they're like, hey, we're having lots of problems. And so you can go in there and they want you to help fix this. And, like a good Obsidian RPG, you can help fix that if you especially have the skills and whatever, or you can even make it worse and make it so they can never fix it by completely sabotaging it. And depending on what you do, both the Auntie's Choice and Protectorate radio stations have something to say about that, right? If you help them out, the Protectorate hails what a great job it was for them to hire this contractor that came in and helped fix this thing. And, and then if you fix that thing, the Auntie's Choice talks about you as, this horrible presence that is helping out the Protectorate and, not helping them. And so we do that in a lot of different places, and it really kind of makes the world feel alive. Like, again, it's just reacting to all of the things that you're kind of doing there.
This is the sequel, so I'm imagining there's a lot of different considerations when you're making a sequel, sure. But there are also probably a lot of players who are going to be playing The Outer Worlds 2 and haven't played Outer Worlds 1. What can they expect? Tell us a little bit about what the game is.
Yeah, sure. So The Outer Worlds 2 is a big open world CRPG. It's in the vein of something like a Fallout or Skyrim, if people are familiar with that. You can do dang near anything. If you want to go guns blazing into stuff, we have options for that. You can talk your way through most things. You can stealth and sneak through a bunch of different things. Lots of choice and lots of reactivity and lots of consequences for those choices.
Yeah, I feel like it's the hallmark of an Obsidian game, right? Everything that you're doing. And like the combat's improved. I was watching the previews and I got to play it myself, and it is everything that I think an Obsidian game should be, but like it's clear that you all are taking it to the next level. So I'm excited to play it when it comes out.
We really, started from scratch and stood up this IP with no previous knowledge of what it was going to be, just coming up with the early ideas, how we're going to fit it all together, what it's going to look like visually, how that's going to represent our robber barons in space aesthetic. We have this whole turn of the century from the 19th to 20th century. What's the retro future is with that as a touchstone? How are the factions going to be represented? All that stuff is kind of tied up in how the writing is going to go and how we're going to represent the different characters and factions in the game.
So we're here to talk about the radio and some of the interactivity and all that kind of stuff. What was it about that concept that made it like, whatever we're going to put in the game, this definitely needs to be in it because it's so important to the game?
Yeah, it was one of those things very early on, just talking with Leonard and Matt Singh. We were like, all right, we definitely want to have a radio. How do we want this thing to work? How do we want to piece this thing together? And kind of what's important to those things. Obviously, it's a good vector for reactivity. And so we use that a good amount in there where the things that you're doing in the world get commented on by all of the DJs in the different radio stations. It's also a really good way to get like a little preview of the life of the people in that faction. You don't always get that when you're interacting with the content itself, at least at that deep level sometimes. And so having the radio, it just lets you, what kind of stuff do they listen to in terms of the music itself? But like what type of ads are they having? What kind of PSAs are you hearing? And that really kind of just sets the...
Some of the best games have had those elements. So it's really cool to see that you all are building that into the game. Just as a baseline for folks who are jumping into Outer Worlds 2 for the first time, actually. Right.
But if you see that, like, they actually truly do think that they are spreading freedom and choice to people that don't have it, and they're confused why they don't want it in some cases. They're like, you can do whatever you want. Like, yeah, you have to work hard, you have to maybe, cut some throats and step over some people to get what you really need, but you can go do that. You have the freedom to go do that. When you're a Protectorate subject, you didn't have the ability to do that. And so, I think it's really interesting that we kind of leaned really hard on that and really kind of showed the cool stuff about them as well.
Yeah, in movies, TV, games, no bad guy ever thinks they're bad, right?
Right.
And so some of the best characters have that nuance, they have that depth where they believe that they're doing the right thing. And like those are the best bad guys, so to speak. And so I wanted to talk a little bit more into the DJs, and obviously they're anything but neutral, right? So can you tell me a little bit about what the writing process was like for that and the casting process?
The Antes was probably the easiest for us to kind of like wrap our heads around, because that was pretty much a continuation of the kind of like the aesthetic and the vibe we set up in the first game, and the type of humor. We did add, the whole self-betterment, self-determination thing, individuality, which wasn't a big part of it in the first game. So we kind of added that element to it where they're kind of using that as their sales slogans. But from there, it was really kind of tough to figure out like...
I've seen how you play. And you can see Tristan's jumping right in there as well.
You can take on that melee guy.
Okay. Yeah, well, you missed that.
Let's take this guy out.
All right.
Give Niles a little bit of help.
Yeah. You might want to take out some of the cover too. So something here is we have destructible cover. Taking this stuff out and destroying it means that enemies cannot use that as cover spots.
Take this guy's out.
Yeah, so there you go. So you can see right there,
Nice,
you're able to
and I
knock
can
him out of
clear him
cover. Just get some free shots on him that way.
One guy over here.
All right. And that's all cleaned up. Let's go loot the bodies and we'll head inside the tomb.
Gotta get that loot.
Gotta get the loot. Truly gotta get the loot.
Oh yeah.
We take a look into the next room though. There's some windows over there we should be able to see inside.
Yeah, let's see what's over here.
Yep, just like I suspected, there's some auto mechanicals. I don't know if we want to fight those just yet. Why don't we find a way to distract them? Oh, yeah, as you can see right there, we have a cable leading to the back. Maybe there's something there we can use to distract them.
Let's take a look.
Yep, there we go. Not only do we find loot, but we have engineering panels that we can use. Yeah, so it looks like that will disengage the lock.
But it'll cost you bits each time you take damage. So it's costly, but it can be really effective.
Yeah?
Pretty good for a Monarch.
I think pretty good for a Monarch. They can afford it. All right, let's look for that secret exit.
Right.
Oh, let's loot stuff first.
More loot.
Oh, look, right there.
Oh, yeah.
You see the observation eye. Yeah,
Looks like the remains are worth a lot.
we're gonna definitely sell those. I don't know who's gonna buy them, but they're worth a lot. All right, let's go ahead and take a look around. Still looking for that secret entrance to the top secret facility.
And just in case we get into combat, I'm actually gonna equip my shield gadget here.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And sure enough, more automech.
The Outer Worlds 2 is an upcoming single-player action role-playing game developed by Obsidian Entertainment and published by Xbox Game Studios, serving as the highly anticipated sequel to the critically acclaimed 2019 title. Set for release on October 29, 2025, the game will be available for Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5 and PC, launching day one on Xbox Game Pass. The story unfolds in the newly introduced Arcadia star system, a distant colony fractured by mysterious space-time rifts and the growing influence of competing corporate powers. Players assume the role of an agent of the Earth Directorate, dispatched to Arcadia to investigate the cause of these anomalies and navigate a complex web of political, scientific, and corporate intrigue. The colony is divided between various powers, including the authoritarian protectorate, corporations eager to exploit the instability for profit, and radical scientific groups attempting to harness the rift's potential. Unlike the Halcyon colony from the first game, Arcadia introduces an entirely new cast of characters, ecosystems, and settlements spread across multiple planets and orbital installations. The tone remains true to the series' DNA, an irreverent blend of dark humour, corporate satire, and retro-futurist aesthetics, while broadening the scope of its narrative themes to explore questions of identity, control, and the morality of progress in a fractured frontier society. Building on the strengths of the original, The Outer Worlds 2 significantly expands its RPG systems and player-driven design. Players can now freely switch between first-person and third-person perspectives, offering more flexibility in exploration and combat. Character creation is more detailed than ever, with an expanded range of origins, traits, and flaws. Each flaw grants additional perk points, allowing players to specialize their build in creative ways, while new skill groupings and streamlined progression ensure that each level up feels impactful. Combat has undergone a major overhaul. Gunplay feels weightier and more responsive, featuring refined recoil, improved aiming mechanics, and a broader selection of ranged and melee weapons. from energy rifles and plasma launchers to experimental gadgets that manipulate time and gravity. Stealth and diplomacy have been deepened as well, with social and environmental skill checks influencing not only dialogue outcomes, but also access to hidden areas, mission paths, and alternate endings. Companion characters return with more reactive personalities and unique skill sets. Their loyalty, morale, and personal storylines can evolve based on player choices and factional alliances. The companion AI has been upgraded to support more dynamic combat behavior and conversational interjections, making them feel like true partners rather than passive followers. The narrative structure places even greater emphasis on choice and consequence. Quests feature multiple branching paths that adapt to player behavior, not only through dialogue, but also through reputation, past decisions, and world state changes. The main story is designed to be just one thread within a much larger tapestry of faction conflicts, side missions, and emergent events that can dramatically reshape Arcadia depending on how the player engages with the world. Factions are central to the Outer Worlds 2's design philosophy. The Protectorate serves as the colony's militarized governing body, enforcing control through monopoly on faster-than-light travel. Opposing them are various corporations, such as Auntie's Choice, whose cheerful branding masks ruthless exploitation, and a rogue collective of scientists who view the rifts as a gateway to a new era of human advancement, regardless of the risks. Each faction offers distinct quests, rewards, and philosophies, and the player's alliances or betrayals determine the broader outcome of Arcadia's future. Aligning with one group may grant access to powerful technology or resources while alienating others, and some endings can only be unlocked through complex combinations of diplomacy, sabotage, or subterfuge. The result is a living, reactive world where reputation matters and every decision carries weight. The game is powered by Unreal Engine 5, delivering a massive leap in visual fidelity and scale compared to its predecessor. Environments are more diverse, ranging from glittering megacities and desert wastelands to alien jungles and rift-scarred landscapes filled with dynamic lighting and atmospheric effects. Improved animation systems, volumetric weather, and a redesigned UI contribute to a more immersive and cinematic presentation. Traversal has been expanded, allowing players to climb, glide, and use new mobility tools to reach otherwise inaccessible areas. Interior hubs and planetary surfaces blend seamlessly, enhancing immersion and reducing loading interruptions. Obsidian has also overhauled the game's technical foundation to support larger environments, more detailed character models, and improved AI behavior across combatants and civilians alike. Now you can enjoy the screenshots without any interruption. Enjoy!